Welcome to our deep dive. Today, we're looking at a whole bunch of research articles, and
Yeah.
it seems like there's this potential power shift happening with AI.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are saying that China might actually end up taking the lead,
Mm-hmm.
and not in the way that you might think.
Right.
Not through just like massive data centers, but
Yeah.
through the power of decentralized edge computing.
Decentralized edge computing. That's right.
It's kind of a mind-blowing idea if you think about it.
Yeah.
Your smartphone playing a key role in global AI development.
Yeah.
That's kind of the future that we're going to be talking about today. So
I think that's a great way to put it. And I think it's important to emphasize, too, that this isn't just about, like,
right.
Google versus Tencent or something like
Right.
that. This is about, like, how our everyday lives are going to function, and
Yeah.
also about global power dynamics.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's a lot at stake here.
So let's break it down a little bit, because I think
Yeah.
edge computing, decentralized edge computing, it's something that we hear a lot about.
Right.
But I think it's worth just taking a second and really explaining what it is
Yeah.
and why this shift is happening.
Absolutely.
So what makes it so important?
So right now, AI relies a lot on the cloud.
Right.
Those big, massive data centers, for processing power.
Yeah.
Edge computing basically takes that power and it distributes it across millions of devices.
Okay.
So your phone,
Mm-hmm.
your car,
Yeah.
even your refrigerator, even your smart toaster.
Right.
All these things become these, like, little mini processing units
Okay.
that are making decisions locally,
Right.
instead of relying on a distant server.
So what you're saying is that instead of my phone, let's say,
Right.
sending information to a server,
Yeah.
having it processed,
Right.
and then sent back to me,
Yeah.
it could actually happen all on the device.
Exactly.
So what does that actually mean for me in terms of like real world benefits?
So one of the biggest things is latency.
Okay.
It decreases dramatically by, like, up to 90%,
Wow.
which is huge.
Yeah.
So, think about it, like,
Yeah.
real-time diagnosis in healthcare using wearable sensors.
Oh, wow.
Like, you could have something that's constantly monitoring your health and giving you feedback immediately.
Right.
Financial transactions become way more secure. Autonomous vehicles can make split-second decisions based on their surroundings.
Right.
These are just a few of the examples.
And that's all thanks to that speed,
Exactly.
that increased speed and processing power.
It's all about speed.
So we've talked a little bit about this, and the research really seems to point to China as
Yeah.
being in a really good position to capitalize on
Yeah.
this edge computing revolution.
Right.
What do you think it is that makes them uniquely positioned to take the lead?
I mean, there are a couple of things that stand out.
Yeah.
First of all, you have the fact that China has over 700 million smartphones.
Right.
I mean, that's just a staggering number.
That's a lot of little computers.
Yeah. And each one of those is essentially like a little mini computer.
Right.
So you have this vast network of devices that creates just this immense processing potential.
Yeah, it's not just the sheer number
Right.
of devices, though,
Yeah,
right?
right.
It's how they communicate.
It's how they communicate, exactly.
Okay.
So China has invested very heavily in peer-to-peer networks. And this allows for a process called federated deep learning,
Okay.
where you have millions of devices that are all contributing computing power without actually sharing the raw data.
Okay.
So it's kind of like, imagine this giant decentralized supercomputer
Right.
that's made up of millions of smartphones all working together.
It's an incredible concept.
It's pretty mind-blowing.
So does that mean that like the big players
That's a good question.
in centralized computing, the massive H100 fleets that we hear so much about,
Right.
are they going to become obsolete?
Well, it definitely raises questions about the future of that kind of traditional computing power. As this decentralized computing grows,
Right.
those really expensive,
Yeah.
energy-intensive H100 fleets, they might become less relevant.
Yeah.
And that could have a really significant impact on the whole AI landscape.
And what does that mean then for the U.S. and other countries
Right.
that are really vying for that top spot in the AI race?
Yeah.
Do you think they need to adapt?
Well, I think adaptation is going to be absolutely crucial.
Yeah.
Any country that doesn't embrace this decentralized edge computing,
Right.
they're going to risk falling behind.
Yeah.
The implications for global power dynamics are huge.
Yeah.
This is a big deal.
Absolutely.
So I think it's something that we need to be paying very close attention to.
Okay. So we've talked about edge computing.
Yeah.
We've talked about sort of like this global landscape. Let's actually shift a little bit and focus on the AI development itself.
Sure.
How does edge computing change the game when it comes to actually training and developing AI?
Well, one of the things that we're seeing is a move away from this cloud-based training
Okay.
and towards something called reinforcement learning,
Hmm.
or RL for short.
Well,
And basically, instead of, feeding an AI massive data sets in a data center,
right.
RL allows AI to learn through experience. So
Okay.
it's constantly adapting and improving based on real-world interactions.
So instead of learning from data that's already been,
Right.
pre-fed to it,
Yeah.
it's almost like
It's learning.
learning like a person
Yeah.
would as they navigate, a new city.
Exactly. It's like learning by doing.
Okay.
And as devices become more powerful,
Mhm.
this real-world learning can actually happen directly on the device itself.
Okay.
So you can imagine like a smart home
Right.
that adjusts the lighting and the temperature preferences.
Right.
By observing your daily routine.
Okay, so that's RL.
RL in action, right?
Right.
So it seems like you're saying that there are a lot of advantages
Yeah,
to actually building these RL models on the edge devices themselves.
absolutely.
What makes this approach so appealing compared to the traditional method?
I mean, well, first of all, it's faster,
Okay.
it's more cost effective,
Mm-hmm.
and it actually leads to higher quality AI
Okay.
because the learning process is continuous and it's context specific.
So the AI is actually adapting to its very specific environment.
Exactly, and to the user's behavior.
Okay.
So it leads to a much more personalized experience.
That makes sense.
It's about making AI that really works for us
Okay.
in our everyday lives.
That's great.
Yeah. It's a pretty massive change when you think about it, like moving from the centralized AI
Right.
to a decentralized model.
Yeah.
I mean, it affects not just the technology itself,
Right.
but like how we understand intelligence.
And how it interacts with the world.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
So we talk a lot about,
Mm.
China's advancement in AI,
Right.
but are the U.S. and Europe actually falling behind in this whole new paradigm of edge supremacy?
Yeah. I mean, it's a complicated situation.
Okay.
The U.S. and Europe definitely have their strengths.
Okay.
You've got world-renowned research institutions.
Right.
You've got incredibly innovative companies.
Mhm.
You've got robust regulations.
Yeah.
But they are facing challenges in
Right.
adapting to this decentralized model.
We talked earlier about the potential decline
Yes.
of H-100 fleets,
Right.
those massive centralized computing systems.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of those are located in the U.S.
Yeah.
Is that a sign that they are, in fact, losing ground?
Well, it's definitely a contributing factor.
Okay.
As AI development shifts more and more towards this decentralized computing,
Right.
those big systems, they might become less important. And that could have a real impact on the balance of power
Yeah.
in the AI race.
Are there other areas beyond just like the computing power itself
Yeah.
where the U.S. and Europe might be struggling to keep up?
Well, one of the big things is data privacy regulations,
Mhm.
especially in Europe.
Right.
These regulations are really important
Oh, yeah.
for protecting individual rights.
Yeah.
But they do make it harder
Really?
to collect the massive data sets that you need to train these advanced AI models.
Right.
So it's this kind of balancing act.
Right.
How do you balance data privacy
Mm.
with AI advancement?
It's a tough question.
It's a really tough question, and there's no easy answer.
Are there any alternative approaches being explored
Yeah.
to try to kind of bridge that gap?
Yeah, there's a lot of really exciting research happening.
Yeah.
People are looking at things like quantum computing,
Mm.
neuromorphic chips.
Okay.
These are technologies that could potentially surpass traditional computing power, but they're still in the early stages of development.
Right.
It's hard to say what their impact will be, but
Right.
it's definitely something to watch.
So it sounds like it's a really multifaceted race
Absolutely.
with different players
Yeah.
employing different strategies.
Mm-hmm.
It almost sounds like a global chess match
It really is.
where every move can completely reshape the board.
And the stakes are incredibly high.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about global power dynamics.
Right.
We're talking about economic dominance.
Mhm.
We're talking about, the fabric of our societies.
Yeah, it's a lot to wrap your head around.
It is.
Let's try to bring it back down to earth a little bit
Yeah.
and talk about how this edge supremacy is already influencing our experiences in
Yeah.
our everyday lives.
I mean, the impact is probably more widespread than you realize.
Okay.
Think about your smartphone.
Yeah.
Facial recognition,
Hmm.
personalized app recommendations,
Right.
spam filters.
Right.
I mean, all of these things are powered by AI.
Right.
And increasingly, that AI is running on the edge.
Okay.
It's processing information locally.
So the intelligence is basically baked into the devices themselves.
It's right there in your pocket.
Are there other examples beyond just like our smartphones?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, smart home devices, wearables,
Okay.
cars.
Right.
I mean, all of these things are becoming more and more intelligent
Right.
thanks to edge computing.
Okay.
And this trend is just going to continue.
Yeah.
It's going to lead to these really personalized and responsive experiences.
Right.
You know, imagine a home that anticipates your needs,
Mm.
a car that navigates traffic seamlessly,
Right.
healthcare that's informed by real-time data
Yeah.
from wearable sensors.
That all sounds very beneficial.
Yeah.
Are there potential downsides?
I mean, of course,
Yeah.
we have to think about privacy concerns. We have to think about the possibility of AI bias,
Right.
the risk of these systems being hacked.
Okay.
These are all valid concerns.
Yeah.
I think responsible development
Mhm.
and really careful consideration of the potential consequences is absolutely crucial.
Yeah.
We need to be thinking critically
Right.
about the ethical implications of these technologies,
Yeah.
and we need to be implementing safeguards
Right.
to mitigate potential risks.
And it sounds like we're on the brink of a new era.
Yeah,
It's full of promise, but also potential pitfalls.
for sure.
And it seems like the choices that we make today
Right.
are really going to determine which path we take.
It's a choose-your-own-adventure story,
Yeah.
and we're writing it right now.
So how can individuals contribute
That's a great question.
to ensuring that we have a positive outcome?
Well, I think education,
Okay.
awareness, and engagement are key.
Okay.
We need to be having open conversations.
Right.
We need to be asking tough questions. We need to be demanding transparency
Right.
from the companies that are developing these technologies.
Okay.
Our individual actions,
Yeah.
they really do contribute
Right.
to shaping a future
Yeah.
where AI benefits humanity as a whole.
So it's not just a technological challenge.
Right.
It's a societal one.
Exactly.
It's about our values
Mm-hmm.
and the kind of future
Yeah.
that we want to build.
Right.
And it seems like individual actions and awareness play a crucial role.
Absolutely. We all have a part to play. It's funny in a way, right? We're talking about, this incredibly complex,
Right.
cutting-edge technology. But the really important questions are all about human values.
Yeah, I mean, we are talking about, reshaping the world through AI.
Right.
But what happens to our own humanity
Yeah.
in a world that's increasingly reliant on intelligent machines?
That's the big question, isn't it?
It is.
It's easy to get caught up
No,
in
yeah.
all the, technical details. The race for innovation, the geopolitical implications.
Right.
But we have to remember that there's a human story at the heart of all of this.
And that story is unfolding right now
Yeah.
as we speak.
It is.
Every line of code that's written,
Right.
every policy decision, every investment that's made,
Yeah.
it's all shaping the trajectory of AI and really the future of humanity.
Yeah.
So what are some of the potential scenarios
Hmm.
that we might face as this technology continues to evolve?
Well, I mean, one possibility is this future where AI becomes a tool for unprecedented progress.
Okay.
Imagine AI solving some of humanity's biggest challenges, like climate change, disease,
Right.
poverty.
Okay.
Clean energy becomes abundant. Healthcare is personalized and accessible to everyone.
Wow.
Education caters to each individual's needs.
That sounds pretty remarkable.
Yeah, it's the optimistic vision, right?
Right.
It's the Star Trek future.
But what about the potential downsides?
Yeah. Okay.
Could
sure.
AI exacerbate some of the problems
Yeah.
that already exist?
Absolutely. I mean, there are definitely some darker possibilities.
Yeah.
You could see AI concentrating power in the hands of a few,
Right.
deepening inequality, leading to social unrest.
Yeah.
The complexity of these systems might eventually surpass our ability to even understand them,
Right.
to control them.
Yeah.
And that could lead to some really unintended consequences.
So it sounds like we need to be thinking about these risks
Absolutely.
from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Responsible development
Mm-hmm.
and ethical considerations are really paramount.
They have to be.
We have to make sure that AI aligns with our values
Right.
and that it serves humanity's best interests
Yeah.
and not just blindly pursue technological advancement for the sake of it.
I think it requires a shift in mindset.
Okay.
Not just for the people who are developing AI,
Right.
but for all of us. We need to be demanding transparency, accountability,
Yeah,
and a human-centered approach
Yeah.
to AI development.
that makes sense.
We can't just be passive observers.
Right.
We need to actively engage.
Yeah.
We need to ask tough questions.
Right.
We need to challenge assumptions.
Mhm.
We need to reject this idea that technology is neutral or inevitable.
Right.
We have a responsibility
Yeah.
to shape this future proactively.
So as we wrap up this deep dive today,
Yeah.
I want to leave our listeners with this thought. The future of AI isn't happening to us.
Right.
It's something that we are creating together.
Yeah.
And the more informed and engaged and empowered we are, the brighter that future will be.
I think that's a great way to put it.
So keep learning,
Yeah.
keep questioning,
Diving deep.
and keep diving up.
Our collective understanding and engagement are going to shape the future of AI
Yeah.
and determine its impact on humanity.